Hello, my name is Melanie Duncan and I'm here on staff at Collierville Methodist Church. This morning, I want to introduce you to Eric and Lauren Ware. Thank you all for being here and sharing your story.
Absolutely.
So Eric, will you tell us a little about your family?
Sure. So I'm married to Lauren. We got married in 2005. We have 4 children. We have Hudson, who is 11. We have Holland, who is 8. Hendrix, who is 7. And Blakely, who just turned 4. But I grew up in this church. We moved here in 1995, which was the middle of my 8th grade year.
Well, so what made Collierville Methodist Church special to you as you grew up in our youth group?
What made it special was the group of people. I mean, the leaders we had for the youth. Miss Chris was here and very much intertwined. Miss Shirley, the parents that were involved, and a lot of them still go to this church. You know, a big thing for me has been music. I'm in the band here at church. No big deal. And
You do a fine job.
yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Music is a big way that I worship, and so the first time I ever played in a band was here when I was in high school. We had a youth band, so you know, learning to play with other musicians, and then that just being such a powerful form of worship for me was great. And I mean, the only time I've really played in a band in my musical life has been here at the church, and so those formidable moments with those people that were around that were just so positive and uplifting and always there for us as youth had really made it a special place for me, and still is special to me now and will be forever.
Well, now what drew you to come back and bring your family here to Collierville Methodist Church?
My parents were here always, you know, through the church, very active, and you know, even before my parents, my great uncle, Uncle Ben, that a lot of people know around here, was very involved in the church.
And that's
so it's
Ben
just,
Neal, right?
Yeah, Ben Neal, and it's just always been a welcoming place, and it feels like home, and it's safe and it's comfortable. And so knowing that we had this wonderful, you know, church and wonderful, great, you know, people here, it made it easy to come back and bring my family in.
Well, we're glad that you did.
So thank you.
Yes. Well, now, so how has Collierville Methodist Church supported you and impacted your family?
I mean, the programs our kids are in, obviously I brought up the music thing because, you know, I'm in the band.
Yes, in the Foundry?
Yes, in
Is that
Foundry,
it?
the
Okay.
Foundry band.
Got it.
And I play lead guitar. And so when I play, I know the offering plate gets very full. So it's nice to know that happens.
Do we have you playing every week?
Yeah, you need me to,
Okay.
but not currently.
Okay.
But then just outside of church too, that it's a stress relief, that coming here is a calming presence. And I think we all can agree that there's just good energy that happens in this building and with these folks and with the congregation here. And
Yes, yes. Well, Lauren, we're in this beautiful bride's room that you helped plan and decorate, and we thank you so much for doing that.
You're
It's
welcome.
beautiful.
That was a fun process.
Yes, it was fun. So why have you chosen to get involved here at Collierville Methodist Church and raise your children here?
Well, like Eric said, even before we moved here as a family, my in-laws were involved in this church. And so this group of women in this church welcomed me into their lives before we were married with a bridal shower. And then years later with a baby shower. So when we did eventually move here, I already felt welcomed. I knew familiar smiling faces, and it just immediately felt like home. I could tell that the people in this church cared about us, and just felt like we belonged here.
That's great. Well, now Ephesians 3:20 and 21 says, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever." So Eric, tell me, was there a moment in time when your path was permanently changed, and how did the church help or speak into that experience?
yeah, this is a recent thing for us. So as I mentioned before, we moved to Chattanooga for a period of time. I was a hospital administrator, and honestly had just gotten into that career for the wrong reasons. We had a lot of discussions and we changed paths, and I went to law school at the age of 36. Graduated at the age of 39, which, you know, I was definitely a non-traditional student. But that was a big, scary kind of undertaking for us, that was made less big and scary because we came back here to Memphis or to Collierville. But knowing that we had my parents here as part of the church, knowing that we had the church here for, the kids to be involved in with SNAP and preschool for Blakely, it just made that move, I guess, less burdensome for our family, knowing that we had this solid core church to come back in. And I got to play in the band again. Kate Jones was still leading, and she loved my playing from day one.
I hope Derek likes your playing.
Yeah, I hope so too. Having the church here and family and friends and everything to just kind of pick us up and show us that, everything's going to be fine. God's here with you. Has been nice, and that's how the church really impacted us, that we could still get our kids involved in some things. And then Lauren's career really took off too, because of this, where she, got to do this bride's room and so many projects through Collierville. And it's truly amazing to see how we made this huge change, but God has really driven it. And one thing happened when I was in law school, but a year and a half into law school, the previous job that I had in Chattanooga, everybody on that level got laid off. And it was just one of those reminders that God's working behind the scenes, and he told me right then, he said, I got this. You made the right decision and you're in the right place. And so, it's those moments that really made, that different path that we took, the right thing.
Yeah, it's great when he reveals himself, isn't it?
Right.
Well, great. Well, thanks you guys so much for sharing your story. We really appreciate it, and we are so thankful that you all have chosen Collierville Methodist Church as your church home.
Thanks.
Thank you, Melanie.